good.
You ready, Ross?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. A bit nervous, but I'm ready. Ready for action.
Ready for action.
There's young Tom having a little snooze. At the send-off party of one.
Did you sleep well?
Slept well, yes. Woke up just before the alarm.
State team.
So doing well.
Did you wake up before your alarm? Because my alarm went off before your alarm.
Woke up before both of them.
Sorry, Jenny, what was the question?
Is this the right spot?
Well, I certainly hope so, that I didn't get up at 2 a.m. to swim the channel with you, Jeannie and Tom. And we've come to the wrong spot, but hey.
Tom's this
So here's the delivery of all stuff. Here's the pile. Food, equipment for 12 hours.
Before I was asked to join Team MadFish, this is what I was like. Curled up on a couch, curled up in a beanbag.
You always have to go into journalist mode.
Have nothing in my life to look forward to. I got up out of my beanbag. I said, I too can achieve what Jeannie and Ross are setting out to do. And so, to all of you people out there in beanbags, look what we can do. This kid one day is going to swim the channel. We hope you do too.
Move over about 10 metres that way. To your left. Left.
Yay!
There we go, Roscoe. Yep.
Yes!
Oh no, that was just a practice, you fool.
Shut up, Tom.
He's off. He's off.
Go!
Go! Start swimming.
Move to the boat.
Start swimming. Now,
Nice talk.
Ross, you know, it's a pretty important thing on the weekend. We had the opportunity here to see Team MadFish with Frida Streeter and her group out on the beach, and we had the opportunity of meeting Kev Murphy. Were you impacted at all by the challenge between Murphy and Redford in the 70s when we were young kids, you know, wandering around the swimming centre in Launceston? Were the seeds put there?
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't know who did it, but they actually documented that sort of 3-race series with Renford versus Murphy, and I don't know whether it was just in Tasmania, but it really captured our imagination, and I imagine probably in Australia as well, generally. But, you know, I remember them swimming Loch Ness, and they basically pulled both of them out because they had hypothermia, and I think Des Renford ended up in hospital. And you sort of realise that, you know, the craziness of this. I mean, Sydney Harbour is probably like a bath compared to the water temperature you get in Loch Ness or even in the Channel, but it was gripping TV, and you know, it certainly made an indelible sort of memory for me in terms of that sort of rivalry.
Well, as you can see, it's pitch black here at Shakespeare Beach, and the only thing that you can see are 2 little green lights. Ross has a green flashing light on the back of his head, and he has a green flashing light halfway up his jacksie. And that's the way we're going to be able to see him. We've got Tom just swimming with a glorious sunrise in the background. Beautiful conditions out here. I'm not sure that it's perfect for channel swimming, but it's perfect for observing. There's just a light breeze on the nose of the boat at the moment, and the reports from Mike, our skipper, is that we're progressing well.
Yeah, the only problem though with gripping TV for swimmers, and you've got to remember that long distance swimming is something that turns on swimmers, but I can remember many years ago taking a girlfriend to the national swimming titles, and that relationship didn't last very long, because it really is something about swimmers that look to the channel as something that's important, it's something that's attainable, but it's a lifelong dream. A lot of people who we've talked about with our swim think that we're bonkers. But those people who swim and who have swum all their lives think, wow, wouldn't I love to do that as well? So I think it's really important for all of us. We've swum all our lives, we've swum in all sorts of situations, whether it be water polo or underwater hockey or surf lifesaving or pool lifesaving, royal lifesaving, open water, pool comps, under 10, Ross under 10 champion in Tasmania backstroke, living legend, still talked about today. But it's important that for swimmers, the channel swim is as good as it gets, and that's why we're doing it.
The polar front is 200 miles lower than it should be, and the jet stream is lower. Right. And I think that they got it wrong. Instead of going left up to the Irish Sea, they would come right up the channel. It would have been a minute and a half quicker on his swim, which would have put him virtually on the same thing as Trent. Yep. But he didn't. He decided, like they all do, to swim their own way when he finished. So he swam, and it took him the best part of a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get out.
Okay, so.
Whereas if you go where you're told to go, like Trent did, he swam straight up up onto a flat rock and stood up within about 10 seconds. So he made 1.5 minutes on.
And that's all he needed.
And that's all he needed.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. But the chances of doing it twice is pretty close.
So that's skipper Mike Oram talking about Trent Grimsey's world record channel crossing, which he did in 6 hours 55 minutes, which Mike navigated for him. Bit of shipping in the channel. And France in the distance. Going well. You can hear the splash splash of our boy out there. Swimming off the boat.
Just give everyone an idea of how the changeover works. We've got the end of 2 hours. Tom in the water, Jeannie about to go in.
Hey, Tom!
As I said, she's got 400,000. You're always swimming in front of her. So Jeannie, interesting from your perspective. We understand, and those of us that know the MadFish dream, that this is a dream that you've been invited into. What was your reaction when you first found out about your opportunity?
My first reaction was that Tom didn't ask my husband, and that was awesome because it was me, not him. And
I didn't ask your brother either.
Which is even better.
It was you.
It was me. So no, it was an honour to be asked, and it took me probably a couple of minutes to think about it and go, yes, I'm in. So it didn't take long to decide. It's an opportunity of a lifetime, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Is that two dogs?
Day out in the sunshine.
Can't get in? Door's locked. Shut up, Jackson.
Well done.
A perfect changeover. We've got Ross in his second leg, powering through the channel there, keeping a nice distance from the boat. Just sort of pan across. You can see this is our first major visual challenge. One of the light buoys in the harbour indicates about a third of the way across, so things are going well for MadFish at this point. You know, just talk me through the machinations of the original thoughts that obviously came into a concrete thing today, but it must have been a couple of years out that you and Tom dreamed this whole thing up.
Yeah, well, I think we're on North Stratty. We're having a dinner party. There was Tom, me, and Rich Vizzackley and respective spouses and children, and we're having a quiet sort of long weekend, I think, up there. And you know, as things do, we had a little bit of an extended dinner party, and at about 4 in the morning, I think after maybe 2 or 3 bottles of red wine, Tom, we decided that
Only.
Each.
we decided that it might be a good idea to do this. So Tom went off and put in the paperwork, and we didn't think much about it again for about 2.5 years. And then, I think probably last year, Tom rang me to say, you know, our number's up, and we've got to swim next year. And I thought, oh my God, you know, need to start the training at some point. But I don't want to go too hard too early, because that'd be a big mistake. And so really probably dialed up the training with the Vlad Swim boys in about March. And I've had 3 months of intensive training, which has taken me from my normal 4 kilometres a week to about 30. And needless to say, I've been in a world of pain. But here I am, ready, fit, and hopefully both fit physically and psychologically to do this.
Ross, you've just completed your 2nd swim. How are you feeling?
Well, I feel like $1 million, Jeannie. I must say, I feel quite strong now. First leg in the darkness, so I was sort of feeling a little stiff and a little tight. But at that time, I sort of got into my rhythm. And I think the deep heat that the masseuse, Rob Reed, applied to the shoulders for the swim, plus the wool fat and the Vaseline, did the trick.
Well done.
A little bit of shipping here, coming through the channel as we are into swim number 5 with Mr. O'Byrne, who's swimming out here.
And young Tom, all of the MadFish, you have the maddest training regime. I mean, where you're working at the moment, water comes in bottles.
Exactly. Well, you know, I mean, the idea of training for a channel swim in the Middle East is not something that's talked about widely, but I've been living in Saudi Arabia for the last 6 months, and there aren't even decent swimming pools, so I've had to be very clever and very inventive around how I actually get the mileage in during the 6 months. So like all of us, whenever we travel, we pack the togs and the goggles, and the only difference is that instead of having a swim for half an hour, I swim for 2 or 3 hours. So the 2 things that are really important for me in the last really 12 months have been getting access to a really fancy pool in Dubai called the Hamdan Swim Centre. Ross and I have swum there before. And it's a in-lane, 50-metre, FINA standard pool. Nobody uses it generally, and I've been able to get access to it for various reasons. And then the second thing is to be able to get ready for the cold water. And this is where my family think I'm absolutely bonkers. I've had to load up our bath with 4 or 5 bags of ice every night for the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I sit in an ice bath, probably 12 or 13 degrees, scaling up to about 30 minutes. And that really, I noticed when I came to Dover, that was probably the most important thing. I could put the miles behind me in any old swimming pool, but I just didn't have any concept of what cold water was. Cold water in Dubai is 30 degrees at this time of year. So it's just not going to help me at all. So those are the 2 things that I knew I had to do. Get the miles in my arms and get understanding of cold water. And hopefully, alhamdulillah, as they say in the Middle East, I've been able to get both.